Greetings everyone, my name is FlareBlitzed here, and welcome back to Fatal 12. Mahalu has given us a pretty big surprise in the previous episode. Well, when I say surprise, I mean surprises. Both for the situation we have in the device selection and the poor heart of Rinka having to deal with a difficult decision now, whether to accept or turn down her confession. Can't say I slept particularly well last night. My heart was racing even when I went to bed. Part of me even entered the thoughts that everything else I'd come to see and learn during device selection wouldn't hold a candle to this. Maybe that's true though. I mean, it makes sense, depending on one's viewpoint of how the human heart works. Even at school, I'm unable to keep my mind off it. Mahalo and Mao got there before me, so I make it a point to give them a cheery greeting to try and switch gears.
Ohayo.
Morning.
Ah, Rita, ohayo. 今日はちょっと遅いね.
There's barely any... That's better. I was thinking there's barely any music in the background. Oh, sup, Rinny? You're a bit later than usual today.
So?
Really? Haha.
Yeah, Rinka.
Morning, Rinka.
Miharu! Ohayo!
Hey, Mahalu. Awesome to see ya. There's nothing different about Mahalu today. She speaks to me like she always does, but it leaves me flustered. You'd think nothing happened last night during her attitude, judging by her attitude. Mao makes no effort to hide her suspicion by staring at us. Can't blame her when I'm acting like this first thing in the morning. Yeah. The music is still quiet, but I bet later on it's going to be absolutely blaring. Fine. I'll kick it up a notch again, but if it's too loud, then I'm just going to completely decrease it. After battling my way through a grueling gauntlet of classes with less than a third of my typical concentration, the sweet release of lunch break finally arrives. Mahalo had some business with one of her teachers. She's just mad at myself, relieving considering I'm still not sure I can talk to Mahalo normally. I slipped my vegetable juice before getting started on my sandwich. Haha, so Rinny, did Mahalo finally confess? And the juice flies right back out of my mouth. Yeah. Wow, amazing. I mean, it was so obvious with the way you were acting and all. Couldn't you be a bit more eloquent, so you knew about her feelings for me and stuff? You might be the only gal in the world who didn't. Even Naoli knows, though I'm not sure if she figured it out herself or if Mahaline told her. So what's your next move? While vague, it's easy to understand what she's asking. The only thing that comes after confession is a response. I think for now, I'm still not sure how to process her feelings for me. It doesn't help that I've never had anyone confess to me before, let alone another girl. What would you do if you were me? I don't know. A quick and blunt answer as she focuses more on jamming a straw into her strawberry milk. She probably knew I was about to ask. Yeah, she was hesitant at first. But what I do know is that it probably took a lot of courage for Mahalu to tell you. In which case, I'd say you'd better take it as seriously as possible. So long as you give her a truly sincere answer, it should work out.
タンが断ってもうちは何にも思わないよ。ミハルも友達に戻るだけ。別にうちらの関係は大して変わんないんじゃないかな。
I won't think any less of you if you turn her down, and she'll just go back to being your friend. Not like anything will change.
あ、でももし付き合った場合にうちがお邪魔虫でのけもの一人ぼっちになっちゃう？まあそん時はナオリンに話し相手になってもらおう。
Then again, I guess I'd be a third wheel if you two end up an item, huh? Might just go to Naomi for company then. Hearing Mal rumble on helps to cheer me up a bit. As she said, maybe I didn't need to worry about this too much. I mean, I'll still take it seriously. I just won't worry about my answer affecting our relationship. Actually, wouldn't it change if I said yes? Yeah, it would, actually. We'd be okay, there's no other way of saying this. We'd be girlfriends, right? A number of questions come to mind, but I do my best to push them aside and focus on the fact that we'll still be friends regardless. No. How do you think Mommy and Daddy make your bed? Anyways, I honestly thought love was just something you'd see on TV and in manga. Yeah, not adequate to the outside world. Oh boy. Mal's face contorts in horror at what I just said. Yep, definitely freaked her out with that one. I know more or less why. Even worse, I have no way to defend what I just said, so I just try to change subject instead. Fortunately, we managed to avoid bringing up again until after lunch. If anything, I feel like I'll be able to set it aside for now and hang out with Mahalo like always. Hey. Right, we're back here. Friday. I've spent my time thinking about both Mahalo and Divine Selection. The possibility that both myself and Scale suggested of everyone being able to survive weighs on my mind again. Mahalo would likely tell me not to bother if I brought it up with her, so maybe I should talk to Naomi about it instead. I already planned on meeting her after school anyway, so it works out. I haven't given up on learning the truth behind Divine Selection. Going through a bunch of books and hoping for the best might not be the best approach, but I don't want to stop. I'm a little more knowledgeable when it comes to the architecture and styles related to that place now. At least. For example, the designs aren't just for show, they reflect the time periods in which they were made, and the result of necessities from those times. Let's put it aside for now. I'm best off relying on Naomi. No need to be reserved at this point. I've already accepted I need to rely on others to press onward. And your cat for moral support as well. Well. Seems like Leafy snuck into my bed while I wasn't paying attention. That serves as a reminder that I should probably change my sheets. What with summer fast approaching. Is it the rainy season? Naomi! Pardon me. Come on, it's just us, remember? I laugh when I remember that we've had a similar exchange regarding politeness upon entry before. Naomi doesn't know about Mahalo confessing to me. Mal says she's aware of Mahalo's feelings for me, but I do feel it's best not to bring it up with everyone. Mal caught on without me saying anything, so I'll chalk that up to a simple accident. The plan for today is to go through some more books for an hour and then open up the store. Just as we've moved on to our table and tossed a bunch of books and notebooks on it, Naomi hits me up with a surprising question. So have you made your decision yet? My decision? What are you talking about? Oh, okay. Okay. I think after reacting like that, Rinka, you're going to be suspicious of yourself. It's something of a matter. You said it'd be best to create a situation where none of you can elect one another, so I was wondering if you decided to speak with Scale or not. A wave of relief washes over me. I nearly panicked with the possibility of her having realised the situation with Mahalu. I think even with that there's something suspicious going on. Naomi isn't what you would call uninsightful. I've already decided on my path going forward. I haven't told her about my parents either. Mahalu is likely to tell her soon enough. Knowing that, she might be a bit confused by my statement. That's the answer I've reached though. Nothing will change it. I felt a real connection with my parents when Mahalu told me about them. I'm much younger and less competent than they were at the time, but the fact remains that I would do everything I could to help save a powerless child. That fundamental desire serves as a link between us. In fact, that may very well have been what's influenced my actions until now. In other words, I've been acting on instinct. Everything I did for Keiko, Sonia, and the old man was all but my own will, yet at the same time, it wasn't. The blood flowing through my veins is what spurred me on. Your path? That all changes now. I won't let my blood or my instinct influence how I live my life anymore. I'm not doing this because I want to save anyone. I'm doing this because I want to live. I want to return to the normal life I had with all of you. I'm fine with eliminating the other participants till it's just me and Mahalu. What happens after that is anyone's guess. I'm pretty sure that's a little bit of a twisted lie there, Rinka. The fact of the matter is that I don't care about the others anymore. The best I can do for them is acknowledge what they did during their lives and make sure to never forget that. Are you sure you still want to shoulder this burden with me? Knowing that. Scenery from the park flashes through my mind. I told her not long after the divine selection had started that I may not have it in me to shoulder the burden of eliminating other participants. Naomi offered to shoulder it back with me then. But the resolve I have now wasn't a factor before. I'd yet to awoken to who I really was. If there's anyone I have to thank for doing so, it's... There we go. That's the Rinka I know. What's that mean? Naomi continues, struggling to overcome her shyness. Well, what I mean is, nothing's changed. About you and Mahalu being the only survivors, and about me being willing to shoulder that burden with you. You say you don't need to worry, but yet I am the one who's in this. You don't need to worry at all. Naomi answers with a smile. Now it's all clear. Everything I do from here on will be of my own will. That's my path now. I'm curious about Scale though. It's possible that he opted not to break through Mahalu's defenses because he knew that you would elect him later. Nope. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he thinks he can win me over to his side, hence why he left us the way he did. It's entirely possible that I would have taken his suggestion to heart before Mahalu's confession. It's far easier to think about ways for everyone to survive. Looking back, I was basically turning my eyes away from reality.
三春先輩の話も受けて、きっと彼はそろそろ何か手を打ってくるはずだと思います。少なくとも自分の指名を引き伸ばしできるような何かを。
He's likely to pull something soon as his response to Mahalu's admission. At the very least, he'll be looking to delay his inevitable election. Just as Naomi finishes her sentence, the phone rings. Not my cell phone, the store's landline. All inquiries regarding orders and supplies go straight to my gran right now, and this isn't a place that requires reservation, so it's rare for that phone to ring at all. Knowing that, I'll prepare myself before picking up.
お電話ありがとうございます。喫茶ライオン館でございます。
Good evening. Thank you for contacting Lionhouse.
こんにちは、お嬢ちゃん。スケール・ジョーンズって言えばわかるね。君個人の連絡先はまだ調べていないから、ここにかけさせてもらったよ。
What have you done now, Scale? Good evening yourself. It's your good pal, Scale Jones. I still haven't looked up your cell phone, so I settled for this. I make eye contact with Naomi when I hear his voice. No doubt she's realised it's him too. There's something disturbing about what he said though. The way he said it implies that he could find information pertaining to me whenever he wanted.
少し俺の話を聞いてほしくてね。君と二人でだ。警戒することはないよ。当然、女神の選定についての話だ。ミルククラウンというバーがある。今日の8時頃、そこへ来てくれるかい？
I know a bar called Milk Crown nearby. Would you mind meeting there around 8 p.m? He doesn't even expect me to decline. Once I agree, he shares the bar's location. Turns out it's not too far at all. I can walk there without issue. I look forward to seeing you. The call lasts a mere 2 minutes. Did things work out?
私と話したいみたい。多分、美晴は交渉の余地がないことを分かっているから、私なんだと思う。今晩、行ってくれ。
This is bad. Sounds like he wants to talk. Probably thinks I'll be easy to target since Mahala won't hear him out. But that's fine. I'll make my way over later. Normally there's concern at first, but not in agreement a moment later. Who wouldn't? I've never been a fan of the atmosphere of this part of town at night. I come in regular clothing, but that doesn't stop random guys from okay. There are also plenty of drunks around, despite it not even being 8 p.m. I came across a sign that I definitely would have missed, had I not known about it beforehand as I make my way through this awful place. Mount Crown is located here. Its entrance is partially underground. Music from a popular rock band plays over the store's speakers. It's an all-girl Silky Strawberry. If I remember correctly, I've seen it on TV before. As for the customers, there's only one, a lone man sitting at the corner.
Yeah. この店は俺やフェデリーコ君が打ち合わせをするのによく使っていてね。すっかり常連なのさ。
Yo, Frederica and I use this place for our meetings, so I've become something of a regular.
もっとも、フェデリーコ君が問題を起こしたようで、出禁を食らってしまったけれどね。
Yeah, he decided to break something and trying to beat up Alan. Well, Frederico ended up getting banned after stirring up some trouble here, it seems.
おごりよ。何がいい？
What do you want? My treat?
ジュース。何でもいい。
I'll have some juice. Whatever's fine. It's obvious someone underage like me shouldn't be in a place like this. There are numerous bottles of various types of alcohol lined up on a shelf behind the counter. They seem expensive judging by the intricate bottle designs. Scale has a glass already. Inside is a slightly transparent, fizzy yellow drink. Obviously I have no clue what it is, but it doesn't seem like beer. While nervous about being this sort of establishment, I make it a point to not let Scale influence me. I'm given a glass of mixed juice. It even has an orange slice wedged onto the rim of the glass. I thank him for it, and then Scale gets right to the point. You keep saying that. I want to stay on the side of justice as much as possible. Yeah, and what does that entail exactly?
世の中に完全な正義なんてない。議論されすぎて陳腐化してしまっているようなことだけれど、俺は真理だと思っている。
The idea of justice in our world has been debated to the point that it's become somewhat irrelevant, but I'm a firm believer there's no ideal definition of what it is and isn't just yet.
例えば、残虐な方法で親を殺した犯人を少年が復讐のため殺すこと。どちらも犯罪だが、この少年を悪だと言い切れるかい？俺は言い切れないと思う。
For example, let's say a young boy takes revenge on the person who murdered his parents by killing the killer. Both acts are criminal, but can you say the boy is an evil person for doing so? I can't. I can.
大切なのはあくまで心の持ちようだ。俺はたとえ罪を犯していても、この場合の少年は正義の側にいるんだと思っている。
What's important is their mindset when doing so. He may have committed a crime, but I would say the boy's actions were just. Just not okay, because you're doing the same thing that the killer did beforehand. Therefore, it is entirely possible that the motives behind doing so are an enactment of revenge. They're both desired from a very negative standpoint. One of them was probably out of curiosity, whereas one in the future was an enactment of revenge. Both still have bad traits to them. Sorry, but I'm not quite understanding you. What is it you're trying to tell me?
悪だと思っていたアランやフェデリーコ、彼らの人生を思うと、彼らもまた正義の側であるとも考えるようになった。
I once figured that both Alan and Federico were evil, but when I considered what happened to them in their lives, I've come to think that maybe they are, in fact, just.
全員が指名して防御する。その方法を俺たちは試してみるべきなんじゃないか?
Now, to get to my point, don't you think we should all try to elect and protect ourselves? You remember what Maharu told us, don't you? Divine selection is a ritual carried out to determine a vessel for the goddess. While true that we were able to live on, Maharu makes it clear that things would be tenacious if more than one participant remains.
だから試してみるべきと言っているんだ。女神も最初の時点でこの可能性を俺たちが思いつくことを示唆していた。
That's why I'm saying we should try it. Parsa allowed us to consider the possibility by hinting at its existence.
女神がどんな対策を取ってくるのか見届けてから、俺たちはさらに今後の方針を考えればいい。実際に女神が動くまで俺たちは何もできない。
We can decide what to do following that once we see what she does. Truth of the matter is that there's nothing else we can do until then.
あるいは全てフェイクという可能性もある。
There's a possibility that it's all a ruse too.
女神は複数人が残った場合のことを、その時が来てのお楽しみと曖昧な言い方をしていた。
She did only say that we would cross that bridge if we ever came to it, after all.
そのことで俺たちに無意識的にその結末を避けさせようとしたとも考えられはしないかい?
Being vague may have been her way of making us avoid that outcome in the first place.
つまりどういうことなんですか?
What are you implying?
女神の器が一人に絞られなかった場合、女神自身が消滅するとか。
What if Persa herself would disappear if she is unable to determine a soul vessel to inhabit? I gulped way too loudly. He thinks Persa would just actually disappear. That's a bit much for me to process. I guess it's a bit easier to grasp when you consider the fact that she has to remain there. At the same time, I'd much rather understand what becoming her vessel entails, along with why she has to rely on the body of a human in the first place.
もっとも、俺もそこまで全てがうまくいくとは思っていない。けれど、
I'm not confident that everything would go smoothly in the first place. But well,
ここまで生き残っていた5人ならば、どんな困難でも乗り越えられると思わないかい?
the five of us made it this far. Wouldn't you say we've got it in us to make it past anything at this point? His voice is full of confidence. The way he speaks reminds me of the politicians who go around and make public speeches. Chances are good, but I can't conceal my suspicion towards him with that image in mind.
君が俺を信用できないのはよくわかる。君にとって俺は協力関係にあったミハルを指名した裏切り者でしかないだろう。
You're not even a just
これではとて
character
も正義の
scale.
側にいようとする行動とは思えないね。
I'm well aware that you can't trust me, considering I tried to elect Mahalu despite our alliance. Hardly a just act on my part after all.
だから一度俺のこれまでの人生を聞いてほしい。君には俺の情報が知られているはずだ。もはやカードを取得されるという心配をする必要はないからね。
That's why I'd like you to hear about my life first. You likely have all of my info at this point, so I don't need to worry about handing you any new cards. I say nothing, but he opts to continue anyway.
俺はスケール・ジョーンズ。誕生日は9月30日。天秤座だ。
My name's Scale Jones, born September 30th. Make me a Libra. That's actually me as well, I'm a Libra too. His life story follows. He was born in America, along the outskirts of Texas to be precise. His childhood was as normal as could be. He lived a simple life with his parents, an older brother and a dog. However, comparisons between him and his brother became common as he grew up. Not only was his brother always top of class, he was exceptionally skilled at any and all sports. He was even on par with Scales' own friends on the football team who had been scouted. Scales compared to his brother at every turn due to this, which became a source of stress for him. It led him to coming to hate the brother he once spent so much time with as a child. However, it was a camera that saved him from all of that. His parents bought him one for his 14th birthday, which he became obsessed with. He was able to find joy in taking pictures. His parents soon came to understand that he was gifted with immense artistic skill. He was different from his brother, and his parents began to accept this. Apparently, it was Scales' own brother who suggested the camera to his parents, as they were at a loss with what to get him. This caused Scales' hate to turn to respect. His interest shifted towards advertising following this. Thus, he made his way to the city to study graphic design at a local college. He did this because he figured that it would be hard to earn a living solely through taking pictures. His goal was to learn how to make the most from the pictures he would take.
高校時代、カメラ好きを公言していた俺は、スポーツの試合があるたびに写真を撮るため呼ばれた。この時はあまり快く思っていなかった。
I was always called out to the matches our school were matches our school were part of in high school due to everyone knowing about my hobby. I wasn't too pleased with that in all honesty.
しかし、大学で一人暮らしを始めると価値観が変わった。世界が広がったように感じたんだ。その時から俺はスポーツの写真を撮る面白さを知った。
Things changed when I went to college and started living on my own, though I felt like a whole new world opened up for me. That was the moment I realized just how engaging it could be to capture big moments in sports.
一瞬一瞬を切り取る写真の究極の形さ。知識と経験と、そして運がなければ、ベストな写真を絶対に撮れない。
Each and every moment was valuable, though. You'd never capture the best shot without proper knowledge and experience, not to mention luck. You really do love it, huh? That's my honest impression based on his facial expression as he talks about it. He's almost like a little kid telling someone about their favourite toy. It's nothing like the impression I got from our search for his information and what Alan shared with me. He's very human, I guess.
カードを持っている君になら、ここからは説明不要かな。スポーツの頂点といえば、俺にとってはオリンピック。
I'd say Olympics is a peak as well when it comes to sport activities. It far outclasses stuff like football and rugby and stuff, which myself I'm not particularly interested in, just because of all the money that orbits around football. I doubt I need to explain the rest to you when you have all three of my cards, but I will say that the Olympics is the pinnacle of athletic activity to me.
自国の選手が金メダルを勝ち取る瞬間を撮影したい。これが今も抱え続ける俺の未練だ。
I always wanted to capture the moment someone from my country won a gold medal, so much that it became my regret. Well, maybe you should dive near the swimming pools and see if Michael Phelps is winning any more gold medals. However, he moved into the entertainment industry after a brief stint at a newspaper. To be more blunt, he became a paparazzi. He made sure to detail that too. It turned out that the father of one of his friends who had been employed at a real estate firm was a famous actor. However, the paparazzi had evidence of him committing... Okay. What's more, it turned out that it wasn't a Okay. He had been seeing others for years. And he even had a... Oh gosh. I'm not too familiar with foreign films and stuff, but even I heard of the person before. Not only did the mass media close in on my friend, he had to deal with harassment as well. Gosh. Mostly by those close to the illegitimate child. None of it was major, but it piles up nonetheless. Turns out that person was pretty horrible too. He was jealous of my friend and the career he had built for himself. Nice. His logic was that there shouldn't be such a big difference between their lives when the same blood runs through their veins. Of course, the real difference was the amount of effort put in to get to where they were. Oh gosh. Some of the harassment consulted minor offences too. It all ate away at my friend until he eventually chose to do that. Huh? Ironically, that served as the trigger to wrap the whole scandal up. I bet you're wondering why I'd become a paparazzi after hearing that, though. It'd make more sense for me to hate them, wouldn't it? Well, yes. I am of the mind that my friend's father was most at fault. None of it would have either happened if he hadn't cheated. There can't be evidence of something that never took place, after all. Celebrities have the opportunity to fix their attitude should they be involved in a public scandal. That's why I see the paparazzi as more of a force that can stop them from doing what they shouldn't. That's why I feel that my decision to become one was just, not that I expect you to accept that logic. With that, Scale's lengthy monologue ends. I now know a side to him that I would have learned otherwise. He has his own convictions, his own way of life. I can't say I understand or feel for him, but I can't deny that he's gone through his fair share in life. Scale, I am not convinced. You're not going to align yourself with us, okay? You're going to be the next one. Electing Mahalo was proof of my weakness. I feared the idea of her being able to gather my information with ease, and that fear drove me away from justice. To that end, I can honestly say that I'm glad that she was able to protect herself. That relief brought me back to the side of justice. Now I want to make the right choice, which is for all of us to survive. So please, believe me. Scale places his arms to his sides and bows deeply. He must have done some research on the best ways to influence people from Japan. I believe you. There's no hesitation in my response. I already know how I feel about him. It was the answer I decided on as soon as he started his story. Perhaps since he called me even. I trusted you would say that. Thank you. But I pass. Huh?
信じたところで、あなたが人間だってちゃんと認識したところで、私の意思はもう決まっています。
As much as I believe you, as much as you've convinced me that you're as human as I am, it doesn't matter. My decision has been made. Even I'm surprised at how cold I sound right now. I never knew I had it in me to speak in this tone.
私はあなたを
I'm going to elect you. I clug with what remains of my juice. The tart flavour makes me wince a little. Following that, I ask the bartender the price and then hand over 1,200 yen. About as pricey as you would expect from this kind of place.
あなたがどんな人か知ることができてよかったです。あなたを脱落させても、私はあなたのことを
I'm glad I was able to get to know you. Now I'm sure that I won't forget you after I eliminate you. I left the dumbfounded Scale behind after I walk away. Part of my doing that is to avoid him trying to convince me otherwise, as that's the sort of person he is. I knew how I was going to respond, but I'd be lying if I said my conviction didn't waver as I heard him out. I know I'm a big softy, it's in my blood after all. The hustle and bustle of the streets outside is as loud as expected, and yet I somehow feel like I can hear a scream of pure anguish coming from inside the bar. I grit my teeth and make my way back home. I have no right to feel bad about the decision I've made. I know that. But I can't help but place a shaking hand over my shaking heart. Something bad is gonna go down. Huh? Back here? Alan. Alan Scorpion finds himself recalling the visit he received from Scale Jones, who sought to exchange information one day ago. He is alone, and in the same warehouse as usual. This gutted, abandoned place has become something akin to a home for him. Quite a contrast to what he was used to living in, due to the fortune he had built up with his business. A vessel for the goddess? What he heard from Scale was rather hard to believe. The last remaining participant would become the means that allowed Parser to remain in the real world. He was ready to chalk it up as nonsense at first, but he reconsidered once he learned that the claim came from Maharu. He had his doubts about both the idea of divine selection occurring before this and Maharu being a survivor, but after some consideration, he decided to believe it. It wouldn't make sense to believe in the dream world, but deny other abstract concepts surrounding the goddess. Scale had a suggestion to go along with the information he provided too. It involved getting information out of Rinka by proposing the idea that everyone could survive. Alan had thought of this once before himself. Is it possible to create a scenario or situation where no one could elect another person? Starting with numerical 1, all they would have to do is elect the following numerical, who would then protect themselves until the clock's rotation was complete. In the proposed situation, Scan would pretend to have formed an alliance with Alan and Frederico, and they would get the required information from her. The information would then be used to elect Rinka. A simple con, really. Scale's suggestions was one Alan might have gone along with he had made sooner, or perhaps he would have gone along with it now, had the target not been Rinka. In other words, he turned down Scale's proposal. It's almost time. Alan produces a card as he speaks to himself. Federico Caramanti's regret was what he revealed to Scale in exchange for the information. Alan was able to discern it when he learned that Federico's ring was an old wedding band. However, he also came to learn that Federico had no history of being married. What's more, the ring was made before he was even born. In that case, it had to be his mother's. Upon further research, he discovered that Federico was taken from his mother at a young age. There's no record of her death though, and then came to the conclusion that his regret involved meeting his mother once more. Lo and behold, he was correct. He shared that information with Scale. However, his eyes are set on the future, not the past. Alan knows that, based on his experience with you, a person's card will change to reflect their new regret. At first he thought it was only due to you being a child, but even adults are subject to this should something cause a significant impact and alter the values they hold. Not only is the concept of regret dictated by one's own personal perception, but they also serve as a sort of emotion. That's fine with me. If it disappears, then all I need to do is find it again. Oh my god! Soon after he says this, the card in his hand dissipates into little droplets of light. Well now, someone won't be happy about this. Alan knows that Scale will be furious when the information he gained from their exchange disappears like this. He's likely to figure out that Alan offered it to him knowing this would happen too. Of course, I doubt he has the luxury of worrying about that. Alan has a decent grasp on Scale's current situation. He doesn't have Scale's cards himself, but it's easy to assume that Mahalu does, having survived her election by him. Alan knows for a fact that this applies to Rinka as well. As such, it is likely that Scale will try to target her. I already know where I stand. He sounds content with his decision, thinking back to the fire he saw in Rinka's eyes. Target Rinka then? I found myself peering down on the city alone. Tokyo Tower's famous enough that even I know about it. You can see the entirety of Tokyo from its observatories. Almost 2 months have passed since I first came to this country with Detti. With Frederico now. Assuming everything goes smoothly, there will only be 4 more rounds of divine selection. I guess enough's enough. It would have been all over for me yesterday if I were the same guy as before. I've done nothing but mull things over since eliminating Detti. I even cut out Scale. I'm generally on my own now. That's allowed me to notice something though. Feeling inside me I haven't realised were there. It was exciting to know that I'd finally reached the answer I've been searching for, but with it came a sense of loneliness. It all came to a head last night. My regret card disappeared. In its place arrived a new card with new content. Success. Kind of ironic really. It's the one thing I'd always wanted. I've been a loser my entire life. Nothing changed when I grew up. Nothing changed when I joined and then tried to leave the Mafia. Sure as hell didn't change after becoming a participant in Divine Selection. Part of me figured it'd be alright though. Even if I was a loser, I'd come out on top at the end. I was sure I'd have the last laugh. I'd myself chalked up as the protagonist of the world. I realised that was far from the truth thanks to Odetti's elimination though. I never once thought about succeeding or winning. All I've ever done is run away. Well, I was wrong. This entire time, deep down, I just knew how pathetic and worthless I was. I'd been averting my eyes from the truth until now. I'll win. No matter what. I don't have the time to dwell on the past. It doesn't matter if I'm not the main character. I just want to say that I've made it. Ugh, I knew it. I'd been looking up to her the entire time. Federico makes his way from the observatory towards the emergency staircase. He casts his eyes at the blue sky, inhales deeply, then exhales. Doubt we'll see each other again. He takes out the ring he keeps close to him all this time and throws it at the horizon. Federico notices something important. This is a moment when his life can truly begin. Okay. Oh dearie me. Did he trick me? While shuffling through the cards in his possession, Scale witnesses Federico's regret card vanishing before his eyes. He obtained a card in exchange for invaluable information regarding Divine Selection. His disappearance leaves him more agitated than he was already. His agitation stems from his failure to form an alliance with Rinka. He never once doubted that everything would go according to plan. After all, he had heard about her interactions with and attachments to previous participants. Numerals 8 and 10 came first. They extended even to numeral 4 and 5, the former of which killed her classmate at one point. Had he her pinned down at someone whose empathy prevented her from prioritizing herself at other people's expense? He even made up a story about his friend's death to take advantage of it. Rinka had lost a friend before it. Well, before and is faced with the reality that another close friend is a participant in Divine Selection. Thus, while Scale thought using a story about his friend would influence her the most. He was convinced she would be easy to manipulate. He knows for a fact that she believed his story. She believed it so much, but she felt bad for his supposed loss. And with Rinka on his side, Mahalo would be sure to follow. He knows that Mahalo's regret is Rinka herself. That's why he plotted to drag her in through Rinka. The risk of both his own election and his information becoming privy to others would decrease through their alliance. Once it was sorted, he would go in contact with Frederico again. He would provide him with Mahalo's information and have him elect her. If everything went according to plan, the next round would see him elect Rinka, Frederico elect Mahalo, and Alan elect Frederico, leaving only Alan himself. Scale knows Alan has the means to get information, or gather information on others. Even if Alan has all of Scale's cards, all Scale would have to do is gather Alan's. He had already prepared himself to deal with whatever paths they had in store when elections were no longer possible. That was his plan to survive divine selection. Says, when did Rinka get so resolute? Why did things turn out like this? She made it crystal clear that she would elect him despite her newfound sympathy. Scale remains incredulous. Even so, he isn't one to let others decide his fate. Being at a standstill is his worst fear. A cameraman can't afford to give up so fast. He is the living definition of never giving up. I know what I am doing is right. There's nothing more than just wanting to live. The biggest issue right now is his impending election by Rinka. Her desperation when it comes to saving her classmate was a sign that she's prone to be reckless for the sake of those close to her. Scale did his homework on who those people would be to her. This includes her sole surviving family member. Oh no. He's gonna try and kidnap Rinka's grandmother, isn't he? Saturday after school. We only have classes in the morning today, so the plan is to keep the store open all afternoon. I'll keep it open all tomorrow too. It's been closed pretty often this week, so the least I can do is make sure it's running normal hours during weekend. Doing so reduces the risk of Scale trying anything funny too. I doubt he'll take any risks with people in store, not to mention the fact that the street outside is fairly busy. I told him loud and clear that I had every intention of eliminating it. It's entirely possible he'll let out his emotions. Well, he'll let his emotions get the better of him and try to get information out of me through less civil means. Do you mind if I have some coffee? Naomi has come along with me today. We're taking a break from research today, so I told her to use her Saturday as she would normally, which led her to saying she wants to come over. I think it'll be fine so long as she doesn't go home too late. Sure, give me a sec. That makes Naomi my first customer of the day. Today's coffee is based on the blend you can get at standard coffee shops, but with a little arrangement done by my Grian. We call it Gran's blend. Not sour, per se, but very bitter. I make sure to brew it by following the notes she left for me, letting it steep for just the right amount of time before pouring it. Aww. Oh wow, this one's delicious as well. Phew. Phew. That's actually one of my Grand's favorite blends. She told me it was about time I ordered ingredients for it when we last spoke. Wait, does that mean? Yep, a relative of a person she's taking care of is heading there for a bit, so my Gran might be able to come home for a day or so. I wanna make some coffee for her when she does. She'd always go on about how there's no bigger indulgence than sitting down with a cup of good coffee, so I want that experience to be my gift to her. Aww. I guess I've been indulging myself a lot then. She offers a shy smile, which grew close after she said the coffee I made was delicious. Now that I think about it, after our exchange, the day passes by at a relaxed pace. Naomi spends her time reading a book, meanwhile I deal with customers like normal and flip through a cookbook whenever I have time, well, downtime. Once done with her coffee, Naomi poses a question. This might sound weird, but, have you ever been in love before? Huh? My voice quivers. This is not a topic I could deal with right now. I've been reading stuff with romance in it, but those don't bother me because it's not related to me. But when it is, oh boy. What makes you ask? Oh, the story I was just reading got me thinking. I was wondering what the difference between love and simply having an interest in someone is. Sorry, but you're best off not relying on me for that. I'd be lying if I said I didn't care, but I've never given it a lot of thought before. How about you? Me? Well, there is someone who's caught my interest. At least. Wow. I never expected that. Then again, it makes sense after she took charge of a culture festival. No doubt she made a lot of friends from there. She might have even gotten to know people from other schools. It could always be someone from her middle school too. It might just be admiration more than anything else, though. Not to mention the fact that there are plenty of hurdles to overcome in order to confess. Like gender? Huh? Maharu's face flashes through my mind unexpectedly. Can't blame Naomi for her reaction. I doubt gender's the first thing to come to mind. Nope. I would say that's probably a part of it. I'm not too sure about all of that myself, but I think the best way to get your feelings across is to give them a voice. The fact that Maharu was able to do that and confess to me is amazing. Meanwhile, I still haven't been able to give her a reply. I'm such a loser. Just thinking about it is making me all embarrassed. That's why I try to forcibly change the topic. So, who grabbed your interest? Sorry, I shouldn't put you on the spot like that. Feel free to ask if something comes up though. I'm not too reliable, but I'll do what I can to help. Okay. Her cheery response helps me to settle down a bit, and it gets me thinking. This moment feels as normal as they come, just a regular part of my daily life, almost as though we aren't in the midst of divine selection. Bedtime, it seems. And it's Saturday? Once I sent today's report to my gran, I return to my room and find Levi inside. You sure do turn up more often these days. Come here. I slither into bed and curl up with Leaf. I doubt anyone would judge me for spending a day like this every now and then. 2 hours of lazing about later, I decide to take a shower and go to sleep. Levi is nowhere to be seen after I finish my shower. Sunday. I get woken up by that god-awful ringtone on my phone. It's ringing far earlier than my alarm, judging by the time displayed. I then notice it's my gran calling, which jolts me awake. She's definitely not looking to chat if she's calling this early in the morning. Maybe I messed up yesterday's report. That or maybe something happened with a relative. Now that I'm making myself nervous, after a deep breath I accept the call. Hello?
Yeah.
You? A gasp of surprise slips out of my mouth. It isn't my grand's voice on the other end. It's Scale Johnson's. He proceeds to speak, knowing that I'm not about to waste time asking questions. You'll never guess where I am. A little town up in the Tohoku region. One you might know quite well, actually. He says the name of a town loud and clear, a small place with a small population, almost the exact opposite of Tokyo. It's where my grandma was born, and where she's been since March. Oh gosh. I'm sitting here with your lovely grandmother. Well, maybe that's not quite entirely accurate. Oh gosh, I've taken the liberty of confining her inside a car a couple of miles out of town. I could kill an old bag of bones like her with ease, but I'd rather not. But, well, the same with here, for goodness sakes. The last thing I want is to afford you the opportunity to bring her back by eliminating me. That's where the car comes in. Oh, so she's sleeping tight, nestled in with a perquite. 2 secs. He uses her phone to send me a picture of the situation. As she said, she's tied up in the back of a car with a coal perquite tucked under her arm. The windows are all taped up too. How could you? I know exactly what he's hinting at. He wants to kill her through carbon monoxide poisoning. That's... he can't. Calm down, calm down. You know where I'm going with this, right? You want my information, don't you? That's why I won't be able to elect you. You've got 5 minutes. Type up your cause of death and regret along with the relevant information and send it to me. Oh gosh, this is horrible. She's a goner once those 5 minutes are up, or if you send me information I can't make a card out of. You realize you're at risk if you kill her, right? In fact, you already are if word gets out that you're kidnapped her. Oh, don't worry. I'll be sure to pass this off as that. Though, let's say I do get caught. So what? I would just be killed by you soon enough. You've got 2 options here. Save Granny, or let her die. Simple. Well, well, you wasn't directly involved in Naomi's death, which entails that the explosives were due to you's doing, but the explosives themselves aren't you. So in that case, the coal and the monoxides isn't directly related to Scale. Even though he put them there, it's not directed to Scale. So therefore, in that case, I certainly won't be giving you extra time to think it through. 5 minutes and counting. Got it? He ends the call right away. I can't help but scream. It might be possible to save it by eliminating him, even if worst comes to worst. I can't risk it though. What do I do? I'll never be able to live for myself if I... There's no guarantee if I'll be able to bring her back. What's guaranteed is that she'll be safe if... It's all my fault. My inability to realize that he would target someone other than me or Naomi caused this. My hesitation to speak to her about divine selection out of fear that she wouldn't believe me caused this. I open up the messaging app on my phone. My fingers are trembling so much I could barely type. I don't have any time to waste though. Just when my phone rings. I think it's from my grand's phone at first, but it's a restricted number. Answer. 10 seconds, that's all they got. If I'm lucky, it'll be the police calling because they've noticed something's wrong. That could lead her to being saved. Thinking that, I accept the call. It's me. Alan? The voice on the other end of the line belongs to none other than Alan Scorpion. What's with this timing? I don't know what he wants, but I don't have the time to chat right now. God knows why he even got in contact now of all times. We must talk. Hang up. Sorry, but it'll have to wait. My family's in danger. I shout this out into my phone and end the call before he could say another word. It almost sounded like he was laughing, which annoys me. What the hell did he even want? I can't waste any more time. I try to force on typing, all while praying that she's safe. I finish the message and send it in a hurry. It must be just under 5 minutes. I pray that it goes through otherwise. I get a call right after sending it. It's like Scale with a new proposition after reading the message. You really are kindless. But what? Oh gosh. The way you let your emotions get the better of you truly is similar though. You're not Scale. Do you honestly believe he wouldn't harm your grandmother after you sent him your information? Access to your info doesn't guarantee his safety. It's possible for both of you to elect and eliminate one another at the same time. If it were me, I would have left her in the mountains after obtaining your information, so that only I could save her. That would prevent you from electing me. Oh gosh, once you're gone, I would kill to prevent word of what happened from getting out. I have no doubt that he would do the exact same. He only mentions doing that in order to make you panic. But forcing the other end leaves me speechless. It isn't Scale speaking, it's Alan. It doesn't help that he's saying something so terrifying while I'm still shaken. Wow. I deleted your message before he could see it, so there's no need to worry. I made sure not to look at it myself as well. Why would you? Actually, forget it. Is my grandmother there? Assuming this is your grandmother, she's still out cold from the medicine. She has a number of small grazes, but she is otherwise unharmed. What a relief. What a relief. More important. Wait, no, she's more important, but still, explanation, please. What is this process going on about? Alan goes on to explain everything. Apparently, he predicted what Scale would do and followed him. As hard as it is to believe, he was actually hiding in the trunk of a car that Scale was using. Not long after contacting me, he's forced his way into a car proper, knocked Scale out, and saved my gran. Now he's driving back, having left Scale behind. Now I understand, but something more important is on my mind.
私の助けになってくれたの。これから私とまた取引を。
Why did you save her? I mean, it indirectly saved me too. Are you looking to bargain with me again?
言っただろ。似ていたからだと。
I said it before. The resemblance between you is what drives me. Huh?
どういうこと?
What's that mean? I find myself becoming more alert regarding how vague he's being. He quickly proves that I'm overthinking things, though.
僕は彼女に危害を加えない。信じられなければ彼女の元へ来ればいい。
I have no intention of harming her. Please feel free to come yourself if you don't trust me. He hangs up and, in doing so, avoids giving me a proper answer. I'm able to call her back because he's used my grand's phone, but I guess its battery has died or something. The sheer stress from it all leaves me wide awake, making my attempt to get back to sleep completely futile. 5 minutes of wasted time later, I fire up a browser on my phone and book a ticket for the... whatever that is. Anna's right, I can't just sit here not knowing what happens to my gran. Even assuming that she's fine, there's no doubt that it was a terrifying experience for her. She's pretty tough, all things considered, but this has to be the very first time she's been kidnapped by a random foreigner and forced to take sleeping pills. I doubt she'll get over it for a while. I had plans on keeping the store open all day, but seeing her is more important. Over half a day has passed since Alan saved Rinka's grandmother from Scale. He did so by predicting Scale's course of action and following him. Once Scale had made his move, Alan made one final check with Rinka. She acted exactly as he hoped. Rather than anticipate that he would help her, she acted out of an emotional instinct. Following that, Alan easily put a wrench in Scale's plans. It's ironic that I could imagine what I would do in his situation with such ease. Alan grew quite familiar with the two-way path of deceit as he expanded his business. That's why he was able to figure out how Scale would attempt to survive without much issue. However, Alan now finds himself opposite of Scale's position, almost as if he is gradually picking up the parts for himself that he discarded long ago. This is nothing new for him. He is simply returning to where he once stood. You can't see the stars at night here. The town where Rinka's grandmother is staying is out in the countryside, widely different from urban Tokyo. The Tohoku region's landscape is far more reminiscent of its own homeland. The Tohoku region is the northern island of Japan, if I'm correct. Once she can see the stars in the night sky of their worth ease. It's hard to believe there was a time when I told people about their star signs. Memories of times long past are included in the pieces he finds himself picking up. While he has forgotten them, there have been little more than memories. Now, however, those memories carry meaning to him. I wonder, do you still find yourself counting the stars? He sighs as he makes his way through town. He has no one to validate his chosen course of action. He feels satisfied despite that. So you're saying that your grandmother is very, very similar to Rinka's grandmother, probably. The similarities truly are striking, though it may be more accurate to say their personalities are one and the same. The resolve to stand up for something far greater than oneself. That special look in their eyes can choke the heart of anyone and stop them in their tracks, and the tendency to let their emotions take over, making themselves vulnerable at the same time. Alan cannot help but smile. At this point, he may as well be fighting for her sake. I'll see this through to the end. It shouldn't be long now. His thoughts complete, he sets off to find his lodging for the night. No one suspected he was the young CEO of a flourishing company right now. Hardly surprising. He is nothing but a young man walking under the night sky during summer. And back at Rinka's place, Sunday evening. Having taken the Shinjuku-man, whatever it's called, back to Tokyo, I returned to Linehouse not long before the last train. I cast my mind back over today's events. I got on the very first train available to see my gran. She was in hospital. While fine, they say she had suffered a minor sprain. Even something like that can take a while to heal when you're old, so I'm a bit worried. Once we were alone, she told me everything that happens between midnight and morning. She seems to remember both someone assailing her and someone saving her. Easy to guess which one Alan was. Yeah, the saving part. Apparently he told me that Scale had kidnapped her for money. Not only that, but that he also dealt with Scale. He recommended that she go to the police, but she opted not to. Okay. She believed that Scale would learn from this and regret his actions. If it were anyone else, she would have reported him immediately, but she was fine with it so long as she was the only victim. So that effort, in fact, she told the doctor that she twisted her foot in the bathroom. She's oddly stubborn at times like these. Well, same to you actually, Rinka. Once checked out of the hospital, we went back to her relative's house, where she made us some coffee. It had been so long since I saw her that I could feel my tear-filled eyes burning. Not because I was lonely or sad, it was out of relief from knowing she was fine. She wasn't bothered in the slightest by how I'd been running the store. In fact, she was happy that I was still running it in her absence. Most important though, she said she was worried about me. That alone made me feel at ease. I was worried about how the store was doing, so I made sure to ask her about it. As I thought, Linehouse was currently in the red. Apparently, there wasn't an issue though. I'm not too sure on the specifics, but my gran was making enough for her real estate venture to balance things out. She really did have everything together. There were plenty of things I wanted to talk to her about. School, the regulars at Linehouse, Naomi and Mao, and Mahalu too. Most of all though, divine selection. That and my determination to live. As it turned out, I couldn't bring most of it up. That was fine though. I was able to remind myself that I still had a place to call home. That my gran would be there for me. She was as strict as ever though. The moment I let it slip that I had school tomorrow, she told me to head back home so I could make it on time. It'd take over 4 hours to get back, but even so she was relentless. Her plans to come back next week got cancelled thanks to her sprain too. Instead, she said she would stay there until it had fully recovered. It was fortunate that she got away with something so minor, but I was a bit disappointed that I'd have to wait longer to treat her to some coffee. She had some parting words of wisdom for me too. You shouldn't hate or resent people. What's important is getting to know them. So she said. I never once mentioned Scale or you, and yet it's like she saw right through me. Maybe it was easy to do when it involved someone you raised. I nodded to myself in reaffirmation. Divine selection is tonight. I won't resent Scale if she's forgiven him. I still have every intention of eliminating him, though. That's a choice I've made for myself. In that case, there's only one thing I can do. Get to know and remember him. Having settled on that, I get myself ready and crawl into bed. And here we are. Good evening, my lovely little slaves to fate. I take a look around the court of fate. Only 5 participants remain. Numero 1, myself. Numero 2, Mahalu. Numero 3, Federico. Numero 9, Scale. Numero 12, Alan. It has certainly gotten rather lonely in here, hasn't it? And I bet it makes you feel all tingly inside. Goodness, how very rude. I'll have you know that the loss of people to converse with has me quite upset. Hey, goddess. Another rude person, I see. What is it that you want? Spare me your dramatic nonsense. Is it true that whoever survives will become your vessel? Oh? Alan fires a blunt question at her. He must have heard about it from Scale. I doubt Scale would give that info away for free though, so they must have exchanged information. Passer averts her eyes from Alan for a moment. Not just for fun though. It looks like she wants to examine Mahalu's expression. That answers my question. You may feel free to reveal your information to someone and have them eliminate you, should that not be to your liking. I just wanted to confirm the truth. The final participant will still be able to live on once all is said and done. Correct? That is correct. That's fine then. Like hell is fine. Someone will explain this to me? Pastor takes a good look at all the participants following Frederico's question. My eyes meet with hers. She is smiling. You seem to be the only one unaware, judging by their overall expressions. That being said, I do feel myself in the mood for a chat. Very well. Allow me to divulge the truth. Hold up! Scale interrupts her. He is glaring into Pastor's eyes. No doubt that I recalls behind him doing so. It's of no concern to me though, so I just listen in on their exchange. Someone's going to get eliminated tonight, so would you mind not talking about what happens after someone survives? Hearing about a future they'll never get to experience won't do them any favors. Point taken. Of course, I do find pleasure in the desperation you're showing right now as well. Damn it! You won't let up till the bitter end. I sneak a glimpse at Alan and notice that he actually has the makings of a smile on his face. If there's anyone who my impression of has changed the most since Divine Selection began, it's him. In fact, I'd be willing to bet that he's changed himself. There's no way the person from back then would save my gran. If there's anyone planning on electing me, please reconsider. I'm begging you. I did what I did because I didn't want to die. Scale crumbles down to his knees and smacks the platform he stands on. Not a single person addresses him though. Instead, it's Pastor's voice that rings out. No one heard him out. Allow me to begin tonight's selection. The clock we've been accustomed to begins to move. Revolve, O clock of fate. A clock hand points at me. Pastor's gaze follows. Will you be electing anyone tonight, numero 1? Yeah. I elect numero 9. Why? Well, if you didn't actually do that, there wouldn't be an additional provoke to do this, Scale. Why? Your grandmother ended up just fine in the end. Did you do something to her? Damn it, I might as well do as much damage while I still can. He shoots back up to his feet and starts to scream. There's some English mixed in there, but I can't understand any of it. Even if that's so, it's easy to tell that he's just swearing at us. Do be quiet. Scale screams become inaudible, as if in response to her command. You can see his mouth moving, but no sound escapes his lips. Pastor must have muted him. He eventually notices as well, which caused him to stop. I won't be electing anyone tonight. Same here. But Dial turns to Scale. Sounds like we can hear him again. He locks his gaze into Maharu before shouting again. I'll elect Nemuriel 2. I'll break right through anything she tries to pull through this time and eliminate her. Oh, how pitiful. He has no grounds on which to do that, correct? It is as you say. No elections may occur between those who have protected themselves from one another before. Sorry, Scale, but you are the true evil here. No justice within you. Scale sits down following that, like he's suddenly lost the will to live. I can't tell what he's thinking anymore, but Dahl continues his revelation, this time pointing toward Alan. I am not electing anyone. Parser makes her way back to the center of the room once we're all done. She signals the next step in her standard imperial tone. With that decided, Nemuriel 1 and Nemuriel 9. Allow me to begin the election procedure. Okay. The platform beneath me begins to rise. The moment I nod in assent. It makes its way up in a spiral-like movement at a consistent pace. Eventually, I reach an area I've become familiar with. This marks the second time I've been up to the upper stratum. I've come to bear the burden of my decision. Standing across of me is, of course, Scale. You trying to get out our emotions again, Scale? Bet you hate my guts, her. Not that I can blame you when I took that old hat. Okay. Might have even hurt her in the process. Scale, you can't talk about justice when you yourself have committed a crime. One that originated from desperation. Do you keep on talking, Scale? There's nothing more important than the desire to live. That's why everything I did was necessary. Just remember, no matter what I did, I'm still human. A human, no, I didn't actually kill you. I just reversed the flow of time so that you died how you should originally. Scale. I'm aware of that. He continues to glare at me. I know what he's doing. He's trying to get information out of me by having me sympathize with him. Funnily enough, I find his determination to do so almost admirable. I can't comment on whether his actions were just or not, but at the very least, there's not a single person who would deny his will to live. My gran already forgave you. That means I hold no resentment or hatred toward you. Putting on a bold face, are we? Feel free to think what you want. I pause for a moment before I continue. You told me about your life. Now you stand here, still determined to live. I won't forget any of that. It won't stop me from eliminating you, though. That's why you have every right to curse me. And by doing so, you'll give me the opportunity to know the real you. No? Is that so? In that case, I don't think I could even if I wanted to. Resent your election right now. I'm afraid that is not possible. Even if she were to agree, one cannot renege on their election at this stage. Parser butts in on our conversation, much like the last time. She seems to have appeared sometime after the two of us completed our ascent. Sorry, but I didn't plan on doing so in the first place. I make my intentions clear to her. I find myself surprisingly calm in this situation. Guess what, Scale? Guess what, Scale? As much as you're opposed to the idea of that, so were the other contestants.
そうですね。この場所の時間は現実世界とは切り離されていますけれど、あまり長くいすぎると本来の運命と乖離しすぎて戻れなくなってしまうかもしれません。
The passage of time here certainly differs from that of your reality. But remain here for too long would cause a great deal of interference in the fate originally in store for you. To that effect, you may become unable to return to the real world. Just mute him, Parser. Does that mean I'll just stay here forever then? That'd be the same as not dying, right? No one has ever tried before. I'm afraid. It's hard to say what would happen. That's enough. Interrupting the two of them, I open my card book. The cards in my possession float out in response. Must you be rash? Fine, fine. Please select your cards. I won't tell you to man up. In fact, cling on to hope as much as possible might be the best way to go about it. Truth of the matter is that we'll probably never see eye to eye. I doubt you want someone like me to understand you and your desire to live either. I'll pick up the first card containing his information. His name is Scale Jones. Damn right. Gosh, now you're becoming desperate. I don't want some brat like you thinking they can understand me. There are lots of things that frighten me, you know. That's why I love gathering information, almost as much as I love photography. The more you know, the less there is to fear. Yeah, because there's no greater fear than the unknown. Stop trying to waste time, Scale. On the other hand, no one knows what death truly entails. It's not hard to imagine why it's the most terrifying thing when you follow that logic, isn't it? He died in an accident. I chose another card. I know. Alright, I should probably mention that half of what I told you about my life was a lie. That whole thing about a friend who killed himself over his dad's scandal was phony. As for paparazzi, I only went for that because there's more money and freedom there. Hate to disappoint you, but I'm more interested in a comfy lifestyle than adhering to some sense of duty. You're not disappointing us, actually. You're just being who you are. Granted, you won't care even after I reveal that, will you? You just see it as me try my best to live. It's funny. You say you won't understand me, but here's the thing. His regret involves a gold medal. I read the final card contents, making sure to keep my eyes locked on him all the while. I'll never understand you either. All 3 cards float away from me once I'm done. When they reach the middle of the Court of Fate, they converge and form a triangular shape, which causes light to spew out from them. You're a weird one. Shishimai Rinka. I can't see Scale's face anymore thanks to the light. It's probably good as well, actually. The scenery switches to a highway with more than 3 lanes going either direction. I'm inside a car that was easily going over 60 miles per hour. Yeah, but in America it would be kilometers. Chasing down a fancy car in front of it. Inside that car were a man and woman, both barely visible. A number of other paparazzi had been chasing them, but they eventually gave up. Scale was the only one remaining now. He'd have his hands on a massive scoop if he persevered here, and then he lost control of the car along with a sharp turn, throwing him into the opposite lane and in front of an oncoming truck. The impact of the crash obliterated the car. A photography he had kept with him in the car entered his line of sight as his life faded to black. A photo of his best friend from college, a friend who faced false allegations of drug abuse, the fallout of which caused him to do that. He was the same age as Scale and a candidate from the track and field events at the Olympics. The car and its driver may have been crippled beyond saving, but the camera hanging from the latter's neck was somehow intact. I had to calm myself down once I was done seeing the moment Scale died. It really is too much to be shown another person's death. Even so, it's someone else's death. I'll never forget Scale, but that won't stop me from following the path I've chosen for myself. That's why I can cope. How did you find his death? I'm not about to give my opinion on that. My response is short and to the point. She's taking pleasure in our struggles against one another. Even worse, she's making no attempt to hide it. She reads out Scale's cards to me with indifference after that. My answer must not have been to her liking. Do decide on which card to obtain by the time you reach the lower stratum. My platform begins to move after I receive her instructions, slowly making its descent. That's how my second election ends. Alan or Federico? Probably Federico would be better because we kind of know Alan already, and I think Rinka and Federico are the 2 only main characters which have not had a direct face-to-face conversation before. I lock eyes with Mahalo upon my return to the lower area. She takes a moment before nodding. She must have realized where I'm going with this. I'll take numerial 2's regret. Maharu's regret. Maharu likely expected it the moment she knew I was going to eliminate him. This is necessary for us to both and protect ourselves from one another. More importantly, her willingness to let me have it is proof of her trust in me. I have to admit, its contents are a bit surprising. Written on it is none other than my own name. Surprised as I am by this, it makes sense to me now, considering her confession. She really cares for me this much. Maharu is blushing next to me, but she makes an effort to seem inconspicuous. Tonight's session results in one elimination. Hold up. Heavens, I'd prefer to not be interrupted during my oft-rehearsed lines. Who cares? More importantly, you said you explained the whole vessel thing once the election thing was done. What else do you want me to say exactly? Well, I get that the last remaining participant becomes a vessel for you. I also get that becoming a vessel doesn't get in the way of that person's survival in the end. Much as it creeps me out, it's fine as long as we get to live. I want to ask about what happens after that though. After that, you say, does whoever becomes your vessel gets access to your powers too? Having been told the full story of Mahara already, I know that isn't the case. She's mentioned being able to talk to past in her dreams, but nothing about being able to use her powers. Past just use your body as a piece to stay. You don't become some kind of divine being or anything. If anything, it's basically the same as making a folder on a computer named Pasta and encrypting it. You know what, that's actually a good way of looking at it, actually. I mean, is there any merit to becoming your vessel? You earn the privilege of conversing with me in your dreams. Wow, that's a bit harsh, isn't it? Ain't no one interested in talking to a runt like you. Hell, that's a major downside. Hell, I have trouble sleeping at night knowing you're gonna turn up. You had best remember. you had best remember that this runt is the goddess of fate. I have the ability to reshape fate itself. Excuse me? Frederico isn't the only one taken aback. Mahalo seems somewhat surprised herself. Same goes for me. Of course, I have my own will. Fate can only be changed by the whims of a goddess. There's little I love more than being entertained. As such, I may be willing to change fate should my vessel keep me as such. You're rather impetuous for a goddess. Oh really now? Yet a goddess all the time. I advise you to keep your tongue in check while speaking to a being who exists in a place your tiny brain cannot even begin to fathom. The fate of you people is nothing but a hobby of mine. I take it back then. I'll make sure to keep you happy if I become your vessel. Nice. Oh, I'd much rather you be eliminated. You probably reek of alcohol. Oh, come on. Both of them end up laughing as they make fun of each other after that. I guess he's hardly normal if he's made it this far. She had the ability to change fate while inside me? Does that mean she did so at some point? Mahal lets her thoughts slip out. She catches herself and checks to make sure that Anna and Frederico didn't hear her. I can't bring it up now, but she might know something we don't in regards to Pastor's intervention with fate. Of course. Only one of you here can become a vessel for me. If you have the time to ask questions, I advise you focus on your own survival instead. As for now, I bid you all farewell. May we meet again next week. We've somehow ended with even more questions this late on. That being said, I can tell that we're about to enter the final stretch. 9th week achieved. Oh, a second dream?
ひとまずお疲れ様と言っておこう。今宵は君も一人の運命を終わらせた。
Allow me to congratulate you on a job well done. You've brought another person's fate to a close tonight.
君の見えないところで、君の心には大きな負担になってしまったようだけれど。
He seems to have placed a heavy burden on your heart, even if you yourself are unaware.
もっとも、君はすでに自分が一人ではないことを知っているね。それは、君にとって最も大きな力だと私は思っている。
Well, you know that you're not alone anymore. That has to be your greatest strength, in my opinion. I think I'll wake up in the real world, but it seems fate isn't quite done with me for tonight. Instead, I'm face to face with the man I've grown accustomed to appearing in my dreams. As usual, I can't move or see anything in response. I can only vaguely process what he's telling me.
さて、君は一つ新しいカードを手に入れたね。
What?
それは新しい記憶を手に入れたのにも等しい。
The card you've got in your hands on serves as a key to unlocking part of the memories sealed away in your psyche.
今夜は階段をまた一つ登った君へのお祝いだ。君の忘却を呼び戻してあげよう。
As such, allow me to do the honors. Consider it a gift for your actions thus far. What's his memory about, though? It's a scene from my childhood. At the time I was playing at a nearby park. I say park, but it was a rather famous tourist spot. I went there often as a kid due to my gran being too busy with the store to entertain me. This had to have been before I started elementary school. It was there I met a girl around the same age as me. Oh, I draw such a little cutie. What's wrong? She didn't answer my question. This could be something entertaining as a thumbnail. Probably. She didn't answer my question. It was rare to find other kids there my age, so I probably wanted to play with her. So I kept talking to her, and she kept ignoring me. I eventually gave up and just sat down next to her. She was staring into the distance, seemingly at nothing. When I noticed that, I decided to follow her gaze without another word. Once it was time for the part to close, we both left. I told her that I'd see her next time before we parted ways, but she remained silent. The day after that, she was there again, in the same spot, staring off into the distance. I sat beside her without a word. Thinking back, I'm amazed I was able to do that. It must have been that I wanted to mimic her or something. I spent the day sitting with her until the park closed. I told her I'd see her next time before we parted. She spent the day after doing the exact same thing, as did I. As usual, I told her I'd see her next time before we parted. But things changed the day after that. I'm going somewhere far away tomorrow. I remember thinking that it was weird that she sounded so boyish despite being a girl. I probably should have had a stronger reaction when the girl who had been silent for 3 days finally talked to me, but I guess that's just how kids were. Far away? Oh gosh. Ouch. Oh, this is cyber manslaughter, or it was done on purpose. Yeah, my dad crashed his car and killed people. Now we need to move because people know he did it. I don't want to move. I didn't really understand what she meant at the time. That's why I was able to answer her right away. Don't worry. You can just come back if you get lonely. I'll probably be here forever. What's your name?
Rinka.
I'm Rinka. Shishimai Rinka. And you? I'm Miharu. Cool. I didn't care about her family name. Not like I was old enough to understand the nuisance between given and family names. I just made sure to answer people when they've when they asked by reciting what my gran told me to say. We talked and played a lot on that day. Will you say goodbye today? She sounded worried when she asked. As usual for young me, I didn't think about it for very long, so my answer was simple. Nah. See you next time. After that day, I never met her there again. At that park, where the ever so familiar clock tower had just been built. I guess that, much like how the park has now become our final destination, it also served as our beginning. No. And we woke up. How can I forget something that important? Well, I don't know, Rinka. That is deep within your psyche. But we're gonna end it off to things today, folks. Here. So thank you so much for watching, folks. And now there are only 4 people. I'm so glad that Scale is removed from this scenario, because for goodness sakes, he is far from justice itself. If you look up the opposite of justice, you'll probably find a picture of him there with a definition. So thank you so much for watching, folks, and see each other in the next time of Fatal 12. Hope you will have a lovely day and take care of yourselves.